In India, 6 police officers and a civilian have been killed in clashes over a border dispute between Assam and Mizoram states. More than 70 others were hurt as tensions on the border escalated. Central forces have now been deployed in the area to bring the situation under control. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma said 6 Javans died while defending the constitutional boundary. Mizoram Chief Minister Zoram Thanga said his government deeply regrets the needless injuries. This latest clash was the culmination of tensions simmering between locals of 2 neighboring villages. A recent encroachment drive by the Assam police is believed to have added to the tensions. For more on this, we are joined by Mr. Shehzad Chaudhry, former ambassador, speaking to us from Islamabad. Thank you so much for speaking to Indus News, Mr. Chaudhry. Now, Mr. Chaudhry, we haven't seen any violent clashes over this issue in a long while. Do you believe Prime Minister Narendra Modi's divisive and aggressive approach is shaping the tone in India? Has anything to do with this flare-up?
Yes, unfortunately, it seems so because Narendra Modi's tenures, the 2 tenures of his first and the second tenure, has only given rise to extreme polarization in the Indian society. And many underlying and simmering feuds and disputes have begun to emerge as very prominent ones, as is evinced by the recent, in fact, the ongoing saga at Mizoram and Assam. So, yes, it's very obvious. The land itself, the 7 states, the 7 sister states, as they call these 7 states which are enclosed in that Assam area, also has a history of insurgency, and so therefore it is always on a boil, sort of a boil, simmering, and so therefore the moment the attention goes haywire in terms of Mr. Modi's central focus being diverted to internal turmoil within India, to his Hindutva mandate and his agenda for the Hindutva, and then his external manipulations of geopolitics within the region and against Pakistan. Obviously, the attention is off, and the Interior Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, who's responsible for this kind of control over states and their responsibilities and their problems, is unable to do so. So yes, I agree with you that the polarization that Mr. Narendra Modi's poor politics and bad politics and toxic politics has created has led to this kind of an emergence within the Indian state. Although states will have problems with each other, but these are not something that are external to India. But when you begin to see these things emerge within India, obviously you realize the amount of toxicity that has gone into the entire body politic.
Now, Mr. Chaudhry, ever since coming into power, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has been largely focused on anti-Pakistan propaganda and the ops. The EU Disinfo-Lab and the Kulbhushan Jadhav are some of the examples. Do you believe that in doing so, major issues inside India, like state boundary disputes and separatist movements, due to the discrimination, have been ignored? And are they aggravating?
Yeah, surely 1/3 of India is under an insurgency at any given time. That's a huge amount of India, a space that is covered by Maoists and other insurgencies that are blotting India's landscape. And unfortunately, rather than focus inside India, India and its governments and its prime minister's focus is external, towards Pakistan, towards Kashmir, towards Afghanistan, and in Bhutan, Nepal are the other 2 very recent areas of focus of Indian intransigence, as well as the fact that Myanmar is under no sort of secure position as far as India is concerned. So when you look at the surrounding areas of India and the neighbors of India, India emerges as the main source. And Mr. Modi and his government's focus towards creating more trouble and more strife within the regions of bordering India also means that polarization within India and, of course, the troubles within India will also begin to take head. And that is very obvious. And you heard that, and you mentioned that, the Disinfo-Lab and the Kulbhushan Yadav issue and many other things that India has been generating out of the Afghan soil towards Pakistan all point towards the fact that rather than focus inside, India's focus and Narendra Modi's focus remains outside, and that is what is giving space and creating gaps within the Indian society and the body politic for these kind of problems to emerge.
Mr. Chaudhry, the Chief Minister of both Assam and Mizoram have been asking Union Home Minister Amit Shah to intervene and end this crisis that had been brewing for almost a month now. Why do you think the BJP government in the center ignored this? Did they misread and underestimate the situation?
Yeah, Home Minister has been busy, following or pursuing the agenda and implementing the agenda of Hindutva all across India. Just in Kashmir, for example, in the recent Eid, when the sacrifice of animals is a part of the ritual, Muslim Islamic ritual on Eid al-Azha, there was an order that came out of the Home Ministry banning the sacrifice of animals. Now, you're stopping a segment of the society or a segment of Indian population from pursuing and following their religious responsibility. No nation that calls itself democratic as well as pursuing or following the human rights standards of the world will ever permit this. So, but that happened. Luckily, some sense prevailed, and there was a backlash, and therefore they had to call it off. So I think Home Minister is busy doing these kind of things, looking at how the courts can be manipulated towards giving the Hindus a greater right over Ayodhya and those kind of issues. So Mr. Amit Shah is actually the emblem of the RSS and the focus of Mr. Modi, and you see that in the person of Amit Shah. And therefore, obviously, he has less and less time for other issues within the nation.
Mr. Shehzad Chaudhry, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News.